decision going to a sub-supplier, and in beginning of 2012, I met my former boss, and he presented to me his idea to bring hydrogen and fuel cells on the train. And that was the reason for what I come back to Alstom. And we started with a train what we call the Coradia Island, or if you want to say in Germany, Eland, I do not care about this. So today, story of success and the motivation to do something new. The Coradia Island, its technology, how it's in operation, some work on the hydrogen demand and opportunities you have with our train, and then the next steps. So what we call a story of success is a train that is named Coradia LIT without the I. LIT is a German acronym. It stands for it says leichter innovativer Nahverkehrstriebwagen, so light innovative regional train. This is a train operating with diesel engines. The first trains have been delivered in 2000 to customers in Germany, in Netherlands. Up to now, they are running Germany, Netherlands, Denmark, to Poland, Czech Republic, and we have 6 of them in Canada already. And this is one of the most sold regional trains in the Middle European market. And we have thought in 2012, what can we do better for the future? Yeah, and we have thought we still need trains for non-electrified network, because in Germany, 40%, I thought I have switched off my phone, sorry for this. We have switched off, we have 40% of the network in Germany not electrified. These are mainly regional tracks, so 20% of the traffic is done non-electrified. But we just had a short talk, how long will it last to electrify the rest of the network? You see here the interesting figure. Investment per kilometer to electrify is between 1.2 and 1.5 million euro. And we have just heard yesterday in the news in Germany what a backlog is existing just in refurbishing the existing network that trains can run as it is now. It's something about 98 million euros or even more that needs to be invested in the next years. There are some electrification projects. For example, the track from Hamburg to Westerland will be electrified, one of the last long distance tracks that is not electrified in Germany. But the most of the regional networks will not be electrified, especially on some tracks. The density of traffic is so low that it's not economically efficient to do electrification on the network. So we need a solution to do emission-free operation on non-electrified networks in the future. Emission-free. The request to alternatives on fossil fuel must be answered. We must have not only climate protection, but also noise reduction. Yeah, so many tracks wanted or should be reactivated, but when you're living to the track, you don't want to have diesel engines going through your garden or your backyard. And you want to have a socially accepted technology. So our answer on this is what we call the Coradia Island. I will tell you later what the I means in this name. This is one of our prototype trains. You see here, we have on the train, each of the 2 car bodies, it's a 54-meter train. Each of the 2 car bodies has the same equipment. We have a hydrogen fuel tank on the roof. We have just learned hydrogen on the roof. It's a good thing. It makes the safety case easier. We have the fuel cell composition on the roof. You see here the refilling points at the articulation. Of course, we have refilling points on both sides of the train, so you will never be with the wrong side of your train at the refueling station. We have a battery, yeah, and we have an electrical traction drive on the train. This is more or less quite simple architecture. Especially all the components, I come going back here. All the components which are blue here are standard components for an electrical train, so nothing new developed. Only the green and the yellow one is some new introduction to the railway business. So what we have the hydrogen tank. Here it's the largest, you see it here, it's one of the largest components on the train. Below this, we have 16 cylinders, so you see 4 sections. In each of the 4 sections, you have 4 cylinders next to each other to take a total amount of 134 kilograms hydrogen per car. So the total train covers more than 260 kilograms of hydrogen. And coming back to the question that we had earlier this morning, why 16 cylinders are not bigger? So the first thing is, it's difficult for the production to make larger cylinders. So there's a maximum size in the production of hydrogen pressure cylinders. You would need very, very special production tools to do this. So what we have is nearly the maximum length that you can do. Second, you should try to get a standard cylinder, because the expensive thing of a cylinder is the new certification. When you can develop a new cylinder, you can build it in every size, but you need to do for every size, you need to do a certification that's quite expensive. And that's the reason why we try to get the standard products and packages. And we have here, you see, one is here, 2 are in the middle, and the other one is on the right side, and 4 in a row. The fuel cell is also on the roof, and also in the fuel cell, what you can see here, this is the cooling part of the fuel, the cooling system. What you see here are the 3 air blowers. On the other side, we have the second package of 3 air blowers. Our fuel cell consists of 6 stacks, 6 fuel cell stacks or fuel cell power modules, 3 in a row and 2 rows in parallel. And the standard package that we have in there is a so-called HD40. So you know it's a hydrogenic Cummins fuel cell. I learned it's now acceder. It's a new brand of Cummins for fuel cells. So we have 6 of these HD40 modules of approximately 40-45 kilowatt power output. And this is also a standard module, and we have put them together in what we call a fuel cell composition. In German, we say Brennstoffzellenanlage, to deliver a total of 200 kilowatt for each car. And third, we have a battery composition. We also say battery composition. Here you have 3 trays and a cooling unit in the battery system. This is also consisting of standard modules from the supplier and standard cells that are in this battery system. So why the battery with the fuel cell? What is the energy management system? And finally, the answer, what is the I? You see here on the left side, the fuel cell, how it's working, a fuel cell and battery, how the system is working, the acceleration of the train. During the acceleration of the train, we use the power from the fuel cell and the battery. The diesel train of this size, 54 meter, has normally 3 diesel engines, which gives the train a maximum power of 2,270 kilowatt. Combining the power of fuel cell and battery in acceleration, we have a 1.3 megawatt, so 1,300 kilowatt power. So even more than we have with the diesel train. The fuel cell with the fuel cells, we have only 2 times 200 kilowatt, because we do need the maximum power only during the acceleration. During the other phases, coasting and braking, we are okay with 2 times 200 kilowatt. In a diesel engine, you cannot change. You need, or with the diesel train, you need the maximum power, and you run the diesel engines most time on intermediate power output, which is not very efficient. In the braking, we go to the braking phase here. We ramp down the fuel cell. We switch it not off completely, because start-stop is not so good for the fuel cell at the moment. We ramp it down to a minimum power output of approximately 25 kilowatt for each car. Because we get a lot of energy from braking, so we make recuperation through the braking, regenerative braking. Railway industry has invented this already 30 years ago. Yeah, already 30 years ago. Normally, the energy goes back to the overhead line. We have no overhead line, we have no pantograph. We can store the kinetic energy, recuperate it to energy and store it in the battery. And in order not to overload the battery, the fuel cell is ramped down in the braking phase. When you do a digital driving, we say digital driving, fast forward, fast backward. You can recuperate approximately 30% of the original used energy. if you equip the train with a driver assistance system, and the driver is following the driver assistance system, you can recuperate up to 60% of the original energy. So this is a big job of the battery to improve the overall efficiency of the system. Finally, the coasting phase. And you see here the arrow on the batteries is going forward and backward. On the arrow on the fuel cell is a dotted arrow. So what does it mean? If someone asks me, what is the fuel cell doing in the coasting phase? I say, I cannot tell you. The energy management system of the train tries to get the battery always in its best charging position. But it could be that the fuel cell is off completely and the battery is discharged using the coasting power and the power for the auxiliaries on board. So it could be in the coasting that the battery is charged, it could be that it's discharged, or it could stay at the same level. What is the best charging status of the battery? Depends. I was on a congress where someone from BMW told us, even if you know how the way you want to go with your car, even if you know it, put it in your GPS, because then the car knows where you want to go. Yeah, and especially new cars, especially cars with electrical drives or hybrid cars, when they know where you want to go, they try to anticipate braking and acceleration of the car. Yeah, so when you know, you tell your car where you go, and they try to anticipate to optimize the overall efficiency of the run. It's difficult. You have other cars on the street, you have bicyclists, you have traffic lights, you have traffic jams. So we in railway have a perfect world considering this. We know where we go, and we know what's the track ahead of us. Normally we know where we have to stop. There are not so many unknown stops, so we can really optimize. We can really optimize the run, and we can, if we know if we have an acceleration phase or a slope uphill advance of us, or if we have a deceleration phase or a slope downhill, and we can optimize the charging status of the battery according to this. So if we have a deceleration phase in front of us, we want to have an empty battery because we can recuperate a lot of energy. If you have a slope uphill in front of us, we should have a high charge battery to provide enough power for the next acceleration. And this is balanced by a combination with the driver's assistance system. And this is what we call the intelligent energy management system. And now I can tell you the I in Ireland it stands for intelligent. So it's intelligent, light, innovative regional train. For this explaining what I've said to you, of course, fuel cells have an efficiency of approximately 45 to 55%. So a lot of energy is going away here as waste heat. However, we are using this waste heat in winter times to heat up the interior of the car. It's not enough to heat it up, but we use it as a part. Then you see here the cycle of using battery power, recuperating battery power, using it again. Then we use here, we have some auxiliary consumption, and